Organize Me Radio, episode 100. And that's a wrap. Farewell, listeners. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson. Welcome to the 100th and final episode of Organize Me Radio. I'm your host, Naeemah Ford Goldson, and wow, what a journey this has been. When I started this podcast 5 years ago, I didn't know how many great people I would come across and the different opportunities that would present themselves as a result. I've loved learning about the different niche areas of organizing, design, and entrepreneurship, and I've enjoyed every guest who took the time to share their experiences and wisdom with my listeners. You know, when I started the podcast, my two sons were little. Ethan was just 8 years old. He just turned 8. Gavin was 5 and had a recent autism diagnosis that year. There was so much pressure placed on me, and I felt like I really lost myself. And I'd gone through several traumatic experiences that year, and I wanted to get back to who I wanted to be. So I decided to mix my love for radio and interviewing with my passion for organizing and design. I couldn't be prouder of the results and all the episodes that came from it. Now, my son Ethan is 13 years old. He's 5'11". Can you believe that? He towers over me. And he has a love for music. He plays the trumpet. He can play the piano. He's teaching himself how to play the guitar, and he loves producing music. And let me tell you, he's made some of the best beats I've ever heard. And then Gavin is 10 now. He's thriving. He's gotten so mature at the age of 10. It's shocking. And I no longer have to worry about him running off in public. Those who have kids that are on the spectrum will probably understand. And Gavin loves everyone he meets. And he's just the happiest kid I've ever known. And to know Gavin is to love him. So just like my kids have matured over the years, so has my podcast. And I am so excited about the opportunities that will be coming up when this podcast is completed. And although this is the last episode of Organize Me Radio, it will continue to live on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, also on YouTube. Subscribe to Restore Order Now on YouTube. I hope you can take the time to listen to other episodes I have out there because it is worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. Today's episode is extra special as we celebrate this incredible milestone and reflect on some of the most memorable moments from the podcast. Before we get into the episode, I want to say thank you. Whether you've been here since episode 1 or you just joined us recently, your support means so much to me. It means the world to me. And to the new listeners who will discover this podcast years down the road, thank you. Most of the content that I have on here is evergreen, so it will remain relevant for years to come. I started Organize Me Radio with the goal of helping people live a more organized life, and I'm so proud of the community I've built along the way. Now, let's check out some of my favorite moments. One episode that always comes to mind is my interview with Alejandra Costello. We had such a wonderful conversation about how she launched her YouTube channel and gained a following. And I still get messages from listeners about how she's helped them. And I agree. She was my go-to inspiration when I decided to become a professional organizer. And you have a popular YouTube channel. I mean, over 1 million subscribers. Congratulations on that, first of all. But how did that come about?
So one of my friends, we started our businesses together in 2008. She recommended that I start a YouTube channel showing people how I live, my closets, my drawers. And that just felt like, well, yeah, I guess I should just pick up the camera and show people what it's like to be organized and what's possible and stuff. And so I was inspired by that idea. I picked up a camera. I did my very first video. My mom held the camera and I just showed people how to organize a beach bag. And then I had the idea. I was like, wow, only if I had a videographer to be able to hold the camera, I could like do so much more. And so I hired a videographer on one of my first videos. And the night before he came to my house to film like my condo, my friends, the same friends that told me to start a YouTube channel, sent me this pitch from HGTV that they're looking for the most organized person in America, and they want a video to be sent. And I just felt like it was such divine timing that I was doing this video the next day, and she came across that thing. And long story short, I ended up doing something with HGTV because of that video, because my friend sent me that, and I feel like that really just jump started my online presence with helping people get organized through video.
Another unforgettable highlight was our deep dive into women and emotional labor with Dr. Regina F. Lark. I loved hearing your feedback on how some of you were able to put a label on what you've been experiencing throughout your life. I was the same way. When I learned about what emotional labor was, I was like, oh, that's what I've been experiencing. That episode resonated with a lot of women. Seeing how episodes have made a difference has been the most rewarding part of this entire journey. I remember when you spoke at a NABPO meeting. I don't remember if it was an allies meeting or a regular meeting, but you spoke about women and emotional labor. And it really resonated with me, you know? After I heard you, I was like, I'm getting her book. I got your book the very next day. Like I got it the next day. I was like, okay, no, I'm getting this book. Because I live in a place where I don't have a huge support system. I have a better support system now, but when I first moved here, I moved here straight out of college from Nebraska. So I didn't have I had some my grandfather lived in Savannah at the time. He now lives in Washington D.C. and my brother lived in Columbus, but he was in the military, so he only lived out here for like maybe a couple of years while I was here. So when I got married and became a mother, I had no support system and I felt like everything, was on me. On top of that, I couldn't get back into the workforce. Like I had the worst time trying to get back into the workforce. So I feel like your book just really spoke to me. Like it just really was like, oh, this is what this is.
What I hear a lot is a husband will say, just make the appointment. And the work of the work of the household, there's the obvious physical task, pick up the phone and make the appointment. But there are 20 layers of invisible work before you get to that phone call. So you don't just pick up the phone and make an appointment. You poll the other moms and parents to find out, well, what dentist do you use and what are their hours and when can I extricate myself from my paid day to go. I mean, and is the school having any kind of schedule change over the, I mean, it's multiple layers of invisible
Yeah.
to get to the one physical task.
I've had so many incredible guests on the show, from professional organizers and industry professionals to entrepreneurs and small business owners, and even clients who bravely shared their stories. Each guest brought something unique to the mic. I loved being able to provide a platform for others to let their voices be heard and share their experiences with the world. One of my favorite guest moments was when I had my fellow business partners of Ebony and Orderly on the show, and we all shared our memories and motivation for wanting to collaborate and educate people on organizing. It was a mix of laughter, wisdom, and inspiration. Check it out. Um, I would like to know, what is your favorite Ebony and Orderly memory? We'll start with you, Carolyn.
I know I was going back and forth on this between the first conference, um, because first conference because I think I was sick that day. I wasn't feeling great that day, but somehow I still felt great about the outcome of the conference and was happy to be there and whatnot. So I go back and forth between that, and we did a retreat with just us, and we were gonna be like working, making out some plans and doing everything. And what actually happened is that we all were extremely tired, had a lot going on, and we did some work, but I think that we kind of just spent a good deal more time than we thought kicking back and relaxing and just enjoying talking to each other. figuring out where everyone was. And Naomi cooked some great food that weekend.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
I cook, but Naomi kills. So, but yeah,
Oh,
those two are a tie for me.
Dina, what about you?
Mine was definitely our first conference for so many different reasons. As I stated before, my own personal internal professional development and growth, as well as I'm a big advocate of understanding the things that you don't like are as important as the things that you do like in figuring out your path and your destiny forward. And so in that conference, one of the things that I did not like was doing all the work, right? Doing all the setting up chairs, lifting tables. We did everything from scratch all ourselves. And so I was just like, oh, we're not doing this again. Whatever we got to do to make money, to grow, to have somebody to do this setup, pick another venue, whatever it looked like, that was valuable for me to be able to walk out, because I was our first speaker. And so I went from setting up the breakfast table to putting on my speaker outfit in the bathroom to stepping out on stage. I remember being sweaty underneath my clothes and nervous and still having to show up. And so it was a great opportunity to be able to walk that out. And some things you can't know and learn unless you do it. And so we were doing it. We killed it. Like the fact that we more than broke even and had a little to spread around afterwards was a huge accomplishment, because we hadn't known each other very long. We did not know the level of professionalism that each of us hold. We were just guesstimating at. We only had to vote one person off the island, which is a complete accomplishment that we won't talk about in this space. But we were able to accomplish something that we hadn't done before. We had no idea that it would be a success, but the seven of us at that time, and now six of us that, 6 of us that are permanent, awesome Ebony and Orderly, have gone on to create magic. And so it will forever be in that art museum, will be forever the stamp that marked we are a thing that is amazing, important, impactful, and monumental in the organizing space among BIPOC and other organizers nationwide. So that's definitely my fondest memory of the things that we've done as an organization.
Naomi, what's yours?
yes. Everything everybody said, plus, um, I think it was the first conference. Somebody won like what do you call it? Like a session for organizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So
and we all
we got to do
Our
that.
grand prize was us all getting together and organizing someone's house.
Yes, that was interesting. Like all of us together in one closet. We did that in like we crashed it in like what 1 hour 30 minutes.
we did.
So definitely that's a great memory there. Of course, you're in somebody's somebody's space, actually, you know, doing the practical stuff. So that's one of my favorite memories for sure.
Naomi, I forgot about that. And that was, look, that might be a close third. I might have to divide mine into 3 instead of 2. Because, well, the thing is, I think that was the first time that we all saw each other work. And
Right.
so the client, or the winner,
Right.
the winner was anxious. She was very nervous, whatever. And then having Dina calm her down. And meanwhile, and it was like, kind of fell into a system of, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to sort these things out. And everybody stayed busy while Dina kept her calm and
Right.
helped her and everything. And she's, now the person that won was someone that I know, and she has maintained it. She loved it. And she
Which is
has
amazing.
maintained it 6 years later.
That part.
Which means everyone did what they were supposed to do, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everyone's role was useful during that time.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tiffany, what about you? What's your favorite memory?
I would say that my favorite memory or memories are those where it involves our families. Like how many meetings we've had where the children have showed up, or they're sitting over there. We get food for them. We know all about Carolyn's nephew and nieces, and we had 2 babies born, and just the support, graduations, seeing our kids grow, siblings, the support, going through loss of parents, just all of that, is the other part of Ebony and Orderly, right? Okay, I would add a 4th community, this one right here. You know,
Yes.
That's
that
our behind the scenes that almost makes it all worth it, is the
Yeah.
behind the scenes support.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. So I would say those memories that involve our it's our immediate family, but it's external to this group, and how we kind of show up and support each other and ask about the kids and what's going on and the siblings and all of that, the husbands or lack thereof.
Oh, hold on. That's our official, unofficial 7th member is the wonderful Eric, who gave us our name, Ebony and Orderly, out the blue. He just we were creating a name for all of you out there in podcast world. We were trying to come up with a name, and Eric just waltzes in at the tail end of one of our initial meetings. Just was like, "What about Ebony and Orderly?" And I'm like, "Yes, like go ahead, Eric." Like you are our unofficial 7th member, because he is just always Johnny on the spot with information, Johnny on the spot with support, Johnny on the spot with, all these things, and he gets paid in beverages. So I love that.
Or food. He loves the food.
Or food.
Beverages
Right,
and
right, right.
food.
And don't let it be Naomi's cooking, because then it's
Hey.
like,
Hey, I think we all love Naomi's cooking.
right.
Oh.
Right. For those people who are listening who don't know, Eric is my husband, and he is a news producer, and he's just like, creatively kind of a genius.
Uh-oh.
And then just helped us. We were trying to collaborate or brainstorm on some names, and we were like, what about this? What about this? He walks through the room and he's like, what about Ebony and Orderly? And everyone's like, so
We
it
sat there and
really,
let it sink in for a minute. It's like,
yeah. And it really took everyone by surprise, and everyone was like, oh, I like that, and we went with it and have been going with it ever since. So I would have to say that's one of my favorite memories, when we all got together. Initially, we had brunch at my house, and we were trying to figure out what a collaboration would look like and what we could do. And one thing that we all agreed on is that we wanted to teach our community how to become organized. We wanted to teach them that you can hire someone to help you become organized. You don't have to do it yourself. You don't have to go through all that mental strain. If this is something that, you're not good at, you can hire someone to help you do it. And so I think, collaborating and bringing that piece to our community, to where they're like, oh, you're right. I don't have to do it on my own. I'm not alone out here. That's one of my fondest memories. Another one I would say is after our very first conference, and we were all done, and we packed everything away, and we cleaned everything up, and we just kind of went into the parking lot, and we all just kind of like let out a sigh of relief, because it worked, like we did it. It worked. We made it through. That would have to be one of my favorite moments too. Another thing I'll never forget is the love and support from you, the listeners, whether it was your comments, reviews, or emails sharing your own organizing wins. You reminded me why I do what I do. It's been such an honor to be part of your organizing journey. And as we wrap up this final episode, I want to leave you with a message that's close to my heart. Getting organized is about so much more than neat shelving or color-coded calendars. It's about creating space for what truly matters, for joy, for peace, and for the people we love the most. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your lives over these 100 episodes. And remember, you can always revisit past episodes for inspiration, and feel free to stay connected with me on social media at Restore Order Now and Organize Me Radio. Or through my website, restoreordernow.com. This journey may be ending, but the work of organizing and restoring order continues. And I'm very proud of the influence Organize Me Radio has had throughout our 5-year run. I will miss you all. Thank you for listening to Organize Me Radio. I'm Naeemah Ford Goldson, signing off.